welcome. My name is Lisa Kaplowitz. I'm the co-founder and executive director of the Rutgers Center for Women in Business, where we do three things: remove barriers, build community, and empower women. Hyper-focused on that mid-career women. Think 8 to 20 years of work experience, probably at that mid-level, manager, director. Everything in her life is overlapping. And we know that she faces unique challenges and opportunities. And so we want to help support her, retain her, help her advance throughout her career. Now, you are all lucky, because even if that is not you, this will apply to you. We are doing part 2 with our wonderful friend and colleague, Hope Zoeller. A month ago, she took us through a workshop on how to live aligned, how to discover what drives you, and how to set goals that truly matter. We really talked about identifying our values, and are we really living our values in our personal and professional lives? And my biggest aha was when people were talking about what their values were, somebody said that their value was balanced. And I looked at the list that I made, and I did not have that word on there. And it seems kind of obvious, but that is why my life has always been so crazy. And I love it and it works for me, but I would also like a little bit more balance as well. But since I didn't identify it as a core value, which I'm sure I'm not alone in that, it's not surprising that I am not living that as well. So we are going to use that, and then today take it to the next level and really talk about how we can own our leadership journey within our workspace. So we are going to assess our current contributions, track our progress, take intentional action to position ourselves really for those next promotions and advancement opportunities. You're going to walk away with clear strategies. We sent everybody who registered a workbook ahead of time. If you did your homework, that's awesome. If you didn't, that's okay too, because Hope's going to take us through it and have have placeholders for where you can pause going forward. Now, I just want to spend a minute introducing Hope before I turn it over to her. And Hope is the founder and president of Hope, helping other people excel. She specializes in facilitating leader success at every level of the organization. She has an extensive career working at UPS in various roles. Customer service, leadership, training, development, employee relations. She's been consulting organizations on leadership development for quite a while now. She is also a professor at Spalding University, where she teaches in the Masters of Business Communication. She has a doctorate in leadership education, a master's in education, in training and development, and a bachelor's in communication and psychology. She has co-authored a book with Dr. Joe DeCensi called Hope for Leaders Unabridged. She was recognized as one of Business First's 40 under 40 recipients, and she's also a fun person. She is living a much more balanced life. In her spare time, she enjoys international travel, mentoring youth, walking, and yoga. And she has been a proud contributor and mentor over the years in our Grow program, where we virtually mentor as a group mid-career talent. So with that, I want to turn it over to Hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate that. And thank you for everybody that's been able to join us today. And hopefully we have some of you that were able to in the first session, as Lisa said. If you didn't, that is not going to preclude you from being able to walk away with something from today. But I do encourage you that if you did not, it is available. You can go back and watch the recording from our first session, which was, as Lisa said, really about looking like our values. Are we living in alignment with that? And what I'm going to take you through today is just really, once you know where you want to go and what you want to be, how do you own that leadership journey and get there? Like, what are some things that you need to do to take those measures? Because nobody can do it alone. None of us got where we are today by ourselves. I know I certainly didn't. I think about all of the people along the way that have helped me And I'm now really spending this next part of my life trying to help people get there because someone did that for me. So that's what our journey is going to be. And we're going to have an opportunity here in just a little bit. We will get into some breakout rooms and be able to talk about some of the things that we're talking about, be supportive of each other, and maybe even brainstorm some ideas for each other, give some advice. And we found from the last session that that was a really big piece that everybody enjoyed, was to be able to connect in a smaller group. So you will have the opportunity to do that at the end, and then we'll come back together and we'll close out. But before we get started and jump into our conversation today, I have a question that I would like for you all to sit with for just a moment. And if you could use the chat to put your response to it, I would greatly appreciate it. If you were to write a book about your current leadership journey, what would the title of the book be? Amy, fake it till you make it. I love it. Great. Oh, Mara, bumpy road. Oh, undefined. Punching up. Love it. Stuck. Okay, good. Well, maybe today we'll give you some things to think about. On arrival, survival. Amen to that. I've felt like that here lately. Still going. Start and stop. Ooh, walking through fear and from star worker to star manager in progress. Andrew, you might have a book title there. Definitely, really. Progressing, dead end. Okay. Today I am satisfied. I love that. I love that. Present moment. Seize the day. Anybody else have a title to share? The Adventures of Being a Work in Progress, still. Okay, Trev, I mean, I'm a work in progress. I'm trying to do it, show up every day and be the best I can be. Are we there yet? Gwen, it's a long and winding road. It can be, but it can be a fun journey if we open ourselves up to that. I love it. So you all, seriously, write those titles down for yourself, keep them somewhere, because even with the name of my company, I was a grad school project. I had to come up with something, so I came up with a conference called Hope, helping other people excel. And then I ended up starting a business and calling my business that. So you never know where these names will come back to you. So kind of keep that as a star to kind of help you move forward as you grow in your career. And you never stop growing, because when you stop growing, you stop learning, and then you really do get stuck, as a couple of people mentioned that word. So let's dive into this. And the workbook, we did put that in the chat. I know that Viviana did send that out, but I will kind of walk you through what's on the workbook pages. And, as Lisa said, in the time that we have, we don't necessarily have time for you to sit here and fill all of this out. But I really just want to walk you through, and I really want you to think about this. And then this is going to be something as a takeaway from today. Can you go back and can you sit with this a minute and, work on the most amazing project you'll ever work on in your life, which is you making time to do that. So the first thing when you are thinking about owning your leadership journey is just pausing for a moment and really self-assessing where you are, how are you showing up, what are you contributing right now, wherever you are in your organization. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you're in an organization that you want to be in right now. Just from a couple of your titles of your books, I can tell you're probably maybe seeking more, maybe not necessarily leave the organization, but maybe just move in that organization, go into a different direction. So the thing that I'm going to challenge you to think about, this first step, again, in owning your journey, is how would you assess yourself in some of these leadership areas? And it's really important that you know where you are right now and how you're showing up, so you can know where you need to get to. Like, what is that gap? How do I fill that gap in? What am I doing right now in my organization that are some of the strongest contributions? You need to know that. You need to be very aware of what that is so that you can communicate and you can share that as opportunities become available. What are some things that you need to do to position yourself to improve? And, I'm going to talk here in just a little bit about encouraging you to seek guidance from other people. Build those relationships that people can give you advice on. What are some things you think that I should work on? What might be helpful? If I know I have figured out that this is maybe where I want to be, what do I need to do to get there? Like, here's some contributions or strengths that I have that I know I can get there with. But generally, for all of us, there's this gap of how do I develop those skill sets or how do I get some of that experience in another area that I might need? So I encourage you to just, if you have your workbook and you want to take a second to just rate yourself as objectively as you can, please do that. If you don't have that workbook available, I'm kind of giving you an idea of some of those things that I'm going to ask you again, maybe not in this moment, but as you go away from this conversation, how are you showing up? What are your strengths here? And again, what are your areas of opportunity? When you get to know me well, you'll never hear me really say weaknesses because I always think that then for a lot of us, and even through my lifetime, weakness became a word of something I didn't think I could overcome or ever be able to do better. But when I think about an area of opportunity, I have plenty of room to grow and develop. I just have to put some effort into it. So this is the first step to going through this is assessing and evaluating where we are, what are we contributing, and what do we need to do to kind of fill in some of those gaps. The next thing is once we start doing that, how do you track your progress? And I'm just going to be quite honest with you. A lot of us are not great at doing this, of keeping track of the successes and wins that we have. But it is very important to think about, where are my milestones? What have I achieved? What are my skills that I demonstrate? What patterns do you notice? What things keep showing up for you? And that's why it was so important in that first conversation that we had to like know our values and know what brings us joy and know what we want to do, because then we can be solid with, I know this is what I'm really good at. I've got this. And I still need to work on it. I still need to become better in certain areas, but at least you know and you own those strengths. I will tell you, in my corporate days, I always just thought that I didn't really need to track this progress, that if I worked hard enough, that somebody surely was going to recognize me and give me these opportunities. And, it was interesting because I saw everybody around me getting opportunities, getting promoted, getting special assignments. And I was just getting so demotivated and feeling like I wasn't contributing anything. So finally, I go into my manager's office and I said, I don't understand why I haven't been picked for some of these projects that have been coming up or these special assignments. And my manager said, well, you never said you wanted it. So he said, I assumed you didn't. And he said, so what do you think you have done that deserves you an opportunity to be able to do that? And it was in that moment that I realized I've got to take care of me. And I think, and I'm going to generally speak here, but I think for a lot of us as women, at least for me, it was very hard to project that sometimes because I didn't want it to be like I was coming off like, woohoo, look at me, I'm bragging. But what I realized is a lot of my men colleagues that I was working with had absolutely no problem going in and saying all of the great things that they were doing. And I was just like, wow, I need to be doing more of that because it wasn't that I wasn't worthy of these things. It was just that I didn't speak up and communicate and say, please, I would love for you to consider me for this opportunity next time. And, that's really, once I opened my eyes to that, and I love how, Lisa was talking about having an aha moment in the last session. That was an aha moment for me, is that if I want something, I'm going to have to go for it. It's not just going to come to me. If I just sit back and think, work really hard, keep my head down in my office, somebody's going to, ding dong on the door. Hope, here's this opportunity. No, Hope has to communicate that. I have to let people know that I want it. So I really encourage you to think about, have you been passed over for opportunities that you've really wanted or maybe promotions? And if so, looking back, do you think you sold yourself? Did you really put yourself out there and say, I am very interested in this? And maybe you don't get that opportunity, but then someone will know that you're interested and they'll keep an eye on that. And you keep showing up and you keep working hard and you keep communicating that. That's why it's so critical as part of this owning your leadership journey process is to track that so that you don't forget, because I'm sure each one of you do amazing things, but a month can go by, 2 months can go by, and we can forget about it. We can forget about it. And I strongly encourage you, if you don't have some type of journal, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a hard copy journal, which I do love something about the old school hard copy journals about writing it down. And there is research that says the things that we write down, there's power in that. But you can also have power if you put it in your phone. I know there's probably a leadership journal app out there somewhere, but make sure that, in a given month, you look back on that month. What have you accomplished? What have you done? What have been your contributions? Just so that you have that ready and you can communicate that when, opportunities are out there. The next thing is then how do we identify those opportunities for growth and visibility? And this is going to be where I'm going to tell you out of all the steps that we are talking about, probably become the most critical because this is where you think about, what stretch assignments could I be doing to grow into this thing that I think I want, and maybe I don't know yet, I know what area, but what special projects could I be doing? What networking or relationship building or mentoring do I need to do? I am a huge fan. I've been a mentor now in the Grow program at Rutgers probably for 4 cohorts. It has been such a great joy to help women kind of get on that path. I encourage you to look into that program, but I also encourage you to look around your life, personally, professionally. Who could be some mentors out there that could really help give you guidance? Because I wouldn't be where I'm at today without some amazing mentors. They helped me get into graduate school. They helped me start my own business. They helped me start a podcast. I mean, there's just been so many people that I have, went to seek guidance from. Of they were doing some things that I know I really wanted to do and I wanted to learn from them. And if I had to say anything to you about actions you can take away from today, is really thinking about your network, those relationships that you have, those people that you can surround yourself with. And even if you're still figuring out how to live your life in alignment with your values, there's still so much value in having that mentor or that person or those relationships. And I said this in the last session, and I'm going to say this in this one too. You need to build these networks before you need these networks. So, look around even in your own organization. I used to try at least once a month to take somebody to coffee that I didn't, that I sort of worked with, but I didn't really have a strong relationship just to get to know them better. And maybe in the moment, there wasn't even really anything I necessarily needed from that individual. It was just, I wanted to learn more about that person, what they did, how they got where they are. And there were so many things that I could take into my own journey. So like if I had to put just a big highlight around an action, 1, 2, or 3 actions that you can take to do this, think about your network. Who is missing from your network that you need once you really identify where you want to go and where you want to be? And then is there any skill development certifications or anything like that that maybe you need to seek? That guidance for me came from a mentor of, skill development of some recommended that my graduate programs. Absolutely how I found out about those was through an amazing mentor. So I encourage you to think about that and really who can support you. And I'm seeing some good things. Amy said, no doesn't mean no. No equals next opportunity. Okay, Amy's shamelessly stealing that one, as you all should. That is wonderful. And Lisa said, it's not bragging, it's amplifying your accomplishments. Yes, and I'm just going to tell you, I spent many years thinking somebody was just going to notice hope. And it took me noticing hope first before other people could notice me. So put yourself out there. I promise you it'll be worth it. These things can be overwhelming and you might be sitting there going, hope this is great, but wow, this is just, how do I even get started with that? Take it in small steps. And what I'm going to encourage you to think about as you leave today's conversation is coming up with a 90-day action plan for yourself. So 3 months out, what are you going to do? What are going to be some of your target dates? Maybe it's as simple as you're just going to really start thinking about what are your strengths? What are your areas of opportunity? What are some gaps? What does that position look like for you that you may want to get into? And maybe it's not even a specific position. Perhaps it is just simply an area. Like, you want to work in a certain area of the organization. Start having coffee with people that work in that, finding out about the different jobs. Connect with people in other organizations that do similar things. It's great to have an internal network and an external network. And I promise you, your network is always around you. I just had a trip this week to Tampa and sat next to a woman on the airplane that may need leadership development. We started talking and she took my card. She said she'd be in touch. It was just a 2-hour flight from Tampa to Louisville. I was open to the conversation. So what I'm saying to you is there's people all around you. Be looking and be open to those opportunities. But this 90-day plan is just what can I start doing? Schedule this time with yourself. This is a meeting with yourself. It's the most important meeting you will ever have. In a given week, how have you sat down? How are you looking at your plan? How are you working your plan? What is one thing you did this week to get yourself towards that? So this doesn't have to be overwhelming, and it shouldn't be. It's just, we don't get where we are by just, showing up. It's a series of things that get us to where we are to be. So I really encourage you to sit with and think about some intentional actions in the next 90 days that you can do to really identify some of these things that we're talking about. So then comes in the accountability. This is critically important, that how do we hold ourselves accountable? And that's what I just said, maybe quarterly check-ins with a mentor. I love having an accountability buddy, is what I call them. I have several friends that keep it real for me when I've put something out there. That's why I say not only write it down somewhere, tell people about it, tell a mentor about it, tell a colleague about it, so that you can kind of be regularly checking in and giving them some updates on progress, because it doesn't happen if we just talk about it. And I have a lot of friends that they've been for the last 5 years talking about wanting to accomplish something and they have made no progress towards it. It's action. The easiest part is writing it down. The hardest part is taking that off the paper, out of the phone, out of wherever you're tracking this, and putting it into action. So what are you doing every month, every week, one step towards where you want to go? And make sure that you are celebrating those successes. Make sure that you are, and it's saying that they can't detect my camera, so I apologize. Hopefully I'll be back on to you in just a second. It says my camera's gone. So I will keep sharing with you. But make sure that you are also, when you accomplish something, make sure that you celebrate those wins. That is so critically important. A lot of us think that we need to get to the end of a goal, and then that's when we celebrate it, is when we accomplish the goal, when we win the game. What I'm saying to you is, in a week, if you did a couple things towards working towards your goal, celebrate that. Celebrate that win. That is so important, because then it gives us momentum to keep going, to keep achieving that. Because again, as I said, we don't get there overnight. We didn't just get where we are in a minute. And so, what I would really like to do next, I would like to ask if there is just two people that would be willing to kind of, if you're not able to come off your camera. Obviously my camera has just decided it doesn't want to see me. So it doesn't matter if you're off camera, but just come off mute and really just share with us what one action, and I'm again, just two volunteers. What is one action that you think that you can take away from today's conversation to get started on owning your own leadership journey?
So I can start. My name is Malika, and yeah, I'm sort of in the mid career level. I graduated like about 20 years ago from college. But yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I was always planning to go to graduate school, but yeah, I will put a 90-day plan and pick something. So yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, you were welcome. I'm so excited for you. Well, and Malika, there is a valuable prize that of its nominal value but priceless value that you're going to get for sharing that, and hopefully will help you on this journey. So I will tell you what that is in just a moment. But is what one other person would be willing, as Malika, to share what their one step they're going to start taking towards working to this?
Yeah, I
I
could
have,
go. Oh,
oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
I have several courses that I have signed up for that are more management and administration, and I'm going to start putting a time limit and start getting those taken and done. That is where I feel my weakness is. So I'm going to start getting those taken care of and moving forward.
Well, Amy, you can't see me, but I'm clapping for you. I'm like, woo! And celebrate those things when you start doing that. When like you just accomplished something. And I'm going to tell you all this. I'm sure my managers at UPS Days would not appreciate me having done this, but let's be real. A lot of us sometimes just check out at work if we're going in physically, or even we're home working. We're just like, I just need a minute. I would just stop and I would work on my plan of, because at the time I really wanted to figure out something else. I knew I didn't want to be at UPS the rest of my career. And when I finished up my doctorate in training and development, I remember leadership education, one of the managers saying to me, "That is so great. What are you going to do in 25 years when you retire? Go teach?" And it was just like that other aha moment of, oh my God, no, I'm not waiting 25 years to do something I want to do now. So it took me, I had a 2-year plan, so start with the 90-day. Like as I said, don't overwhelm yourself. I had a 2-year exit strategy. I talked to a lot of people that did consulting and, the good, the bad, the ugly, what should I be prepared for? Those types of things. And then in 2 years, I made my exit. So that's what I'm saying to you is it is the slow kind of winding road. But in those moments when you're kind of bummed about something or the workday didn't go so well, pull out that journal, pull out that something and just spend a little bit of time working on it. Schedule that time for yourself. And it always made me feel better because I knew it wasn't forever. It was for today. And I was, planning tomorrow. So just kind of keeping that in mind. So Amy and Malika, I'm going to put my contact information on the last slide here in just a moment. If you two would email me your best mailing address, you both get a copy of our latest book, Hope for Leaders in the 2020s, which I hope you will find very helpful in both of your leadership journeys. And then you will get a 45-minute complimentary leadership conversation with me that we can call and, just talk and help you through your plan, see how you're making progress. I can be your accountability partner, so to speak, with that. So I will be sending that to you, but reach out for me with your address so that I can get those in the mail to you this week. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I encourage all the rest of you to stay the course. And, I said this in our breakout session. I said, life is not a ladder. It's really a jungle gym. It's a crazy mess sometimes of things where, we thought we should be over here. But now I look back on all of these opportunities I had throughout my life that in the moment I thought why am I doing this? This is a complete waste of my time. And now it was a necessary thing to happen to me to be able to be where I am today with you. And so just be open, just be open to that, saying yes to things or, that now opportunity, that no thing. That's a great thing for all of us to keep in mind is because you never know when opportunity is going to knock and where it's going to lead you to where you need to be. And it is truly, your career is truly a journey, not necessarily a destination. So here is my contact information. And once you've met me, I always say you have hope. Hope is in your network. So do not hesitate to reach out to me if you need a resource or you just have some questions. I truly mean this. I am here for you. And I so support what Rutgers does in their program, especially with women and the Grow. And I encourage you to check that program out. Can't say enough positive things about it. But if I can be a resource for you, let me know. Malika and Amy are going to get a copy of this book. But I'm also very proud to say, and so I'm going to try to model here for you what I said to you about sharing your accomplishments. Started a podcast 1.5 years, and I'm so especially proud of that. And that was because my mom, who passed away, had encouraged me to do that. She thought I would be really good at doing that. So after a year of her being gone and me working through my own stuff, I said, why not? If I'm not learning and growing as a leader, I have no business being in an industry that's what I'm doing for other people. So if podcasts are your thing, it is available wherever you get your podcasts. So you can check that out. And I've got a resource, the QR codes for our website. And we also have a free monthly e-newsletter, Leadership Tips. So if you want to check that out, you can sign up for that as well. So I really want to give back, and I sincerely mean that. It's all about paying it forward. So you along your journey, you kind of get to somewhere where you want to be. Make sure that you turn around and you help somebody else kind of get where they need to be as well, because that's how we all become successful. So I can't thank you enough for spending 45 minutes of your day with us. And I look forward to hopefully being connected with you. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lisa. If we have any closeout comments or Viviana.
Awesome. Well, I hope folks got a lot out of this, the start, right? We don't expect you to have finished this. And we do these webinars almost monthly and would love to invite you. And based on the conversation we had in our breakout, I think it would be helpful. Beyond the ladder, what to do next? Do I continue on at this organization? Do I start my own thing? Do I totally pivot to something else? And we're going to have this amazing panel to talk through that. So I think Viviana just put the link in the chat for that one. Also, I think you all got this, but I'm not sure. We have an amazing in-person event for you all to get together with our women's golf team. And so you do not have to be an expert golfer. It's going to be March 1st. It's in our bubble which is the practice facilities for some of our athletic teams. And they're going to walk us through different parts of the golf game where we're going to get to practice a little bit. And then after, we're going to have a nice discussion, very informally, where they're mentoring us on golf, and then we get to mentor them on some of their careers. So Hope talked about paying it forward. We think of this as more of a full circle moment. And we'd love for you to continue to engage. Somebody asked about the GROW program. We run our mid-career mentoring program twice a year. We are an academic institution, so we do think on semesters. So the fall enrollment will go out over the summer, and so look for that. You are on our email list. Follow us on LinkedIn, and stay warm if you're on the East Coast. We wish you a fabulous weekend, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining.